Imagine an ER doctor, right? Just sprinting down a hallway, pulling up a critical patient scan on a tablet.
Yeah.
And suddenly the screen just freezes.
Oh, yeah. Absolute worst nightmare.
Right. The application completely locks up. The doctor is furious, so they submit a high-priority ticket. But when the IT engineer pulls up their monitoring tools, every single light on the dashboard is green.
Completely healthy.
Exactly. The network is totally healthy.
Yeah.
So why did the system fail? That's exactly what we're getting into today in this deep dive into Provision Network's article on healthcare's hidden IT tax.
Right.
We're exploring how these tiny little localized tech decisions turn into this massive operational nightmare when you scale them up across a whole medical enterprise. It's kind of like a junk drawer in your house.
Yeah, everybody has one of those.
Yeah, and one is fine. But if every single room in a 500-room hospital has a completely different kind of junk drawer, I mean, that's just operational chaos.
It is. And you know what's fascinating here is that this variability is rarely a conscious choice.
Right.
It's the compounding effect of technical debt,
Yeah.
which is so uniquely difficult to untangle. Because when a massive health system grows by acquiring, different regional clinics over a decade, you don't end up with one cohesive infrastructure.
Just piling up over time.
Yeah, you inherit this crazy patchwork of legacy switches, disparate access points, and conflicting vendor contracts. And it's all hiding under a single corporate logo.
So let's look at the friction point between that messy infrastructure and the actual clinical workflow. A health system might mandate that everyone use the exact same clinical application, right? Like the Epic EHR platform.
Right.
And in theory, a standardized app should guarantee a standardized workflow across all locations.
But see, the application is just the top layer. The actual user experience relies entirely on the underlying infrastructure. So a flagship urban hospital might have a robust, high-density Wi-Fi deployment.
Sure.
But a newly acquired rural clinic might be running on these aging access points that just drop packets the second a clinician walks around a corner.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so from a software perspective, the application is identical. But the physical reality of using it varies wildly based on geography alone.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because if I'm a network engineer looking at my monitoring tools and my switches are passing traffic, my access points say they are online.
The dashboard is green.
Right, the dashboard is completely green, my ping times are low. If the infrastructure layer is functioning perfectly, aren't clinician complaints about a slow network usually just user error or some client-side glitch?
That is the classic green dashboard problem that the article highlights.
Okay.
A green light on a network switch really just confirms that the hardware is successfully routing packets at the infrastructure layer. It tells you absolutely nothing about the application layer.
I see.
Yeah, your switch doesn't know that an asymmetric routing issue is causing a database timeout, or that a roaming client is experiencing this agonizing latency during an access point handoff.
So the engineer just sees a healthy device and closes the ticket.
Exactly. They move on, but the doctor on the floor is still staring at a frozen screen because the actual data they need isn't resolving.
Man, so the infrastructure is essentially lying by omission. That disconnect between what IT sees and what the end user feels is just brutal.
Yeah.
And that invisibility doesn't just happen with wireless traffic, right? The article digs into the physical equivalent of these blind spots too, this financial black hole of telecom debt.
Yes, specifically legacy POTS lines, plain old telephone service.
The copper wires.
Yeah, as health systems expand, they inherit thousands of these old analog copper lines. Decades ago, they were installed for vital systems like elevators, fax machines.
The fire panel.
Exactly, emergency fire panels.
And I'm guessing nobody actually audits where those copper wires go during a corporate acquisition.
Never. The IT team just suddenly inherits a massive monthly telecom bill. But because there's zero documentation mapping out what those analog lines actually connect to, they're paralyzed.
Because if they unplug the wrong thing,
Right. No engineer wants to be the person who unplugs some unidentified wire only to find out they just disabled the emergency alarms in the ICU.
oh man, that is terrifying. So they just keep paying it.
Month after month for years. Even as copper lines are phased out globally and tariffs skyrocket, the hospital just keeps paying the invoice.
Wow, it really is an invisible tax on the system. You're just bleeding budget on infrastructure you can't even confidently identify. So if the root cause is this chaotic, undocumented sprawl, my instinct as an IT director would be to wipe the slate clean. Just go in, rip out the legacy gear, and mandate strict uniformity. Make every single piece of tech across all facilities completely identical.
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, blind uniformity sounds highly efficient in a boardroom, but it's a disaster in reality.
Really?
Yeah, because a massive urban trauma center and a tiny two-room rural imaging clinic have totally different operational realities and budgets. Forcing a monolithic architecture onto both of them just creates a different kind of inefficiency.
Right, it's like buying a Ferrari for a golf cart path, just because you want your vehicle fleet to match.
Precisely, which is why the solution proposed isn't rigid standardization, but intentional variability.
Intentional variability.
Yes. You want flexibility without the chaos, and you achieve that through four distinct disciplines: discover, rationalize, standardize, and validate. You start with discovery, which is aggressively mapping the network to find out what actually exists.
Find the phantom elevator lines.
Exactly. Then you rationalize by cutting the dead weight.
Okay, so then the standardized step isn't about forcing identical hardware everywhere. It's about establishing a strict baseline, like mandating a specific security protocol or authentication method, but allowing the actual physical deployment to scale up or down based on the facility's real-world needs.
Exactly. And the final step, validate, is how you close that green dashboard gap. You stop monitoring just the physical switch, and you start monitoring the actual end-user experience to prove the architecture is delivering the clinical workflow.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, exceptions to your baseline are entirely fine, as long as they are deliberate, documented, and justified.
That shift from accidental sprawl to intentional design is massive. And it's a principle that scales way beyond healthcare, honestly. Whether you're managing a corporate merger, a manufacturing plant, or a growing SaaS platform, you cannot optimize what you haven't inventoried. Every undocumented workaround or forgotten legacy system is a tax on your future agility.
It is the unavoidable cost of doing business if you don't continually audit your environment. You pay for it in real dollars, lost productivity, and endless troubleshooting loops.
But you know there is a much darker side to those forgotten analog lines and unmonitored network drops. We've talked about the operational headaches and the financial drain. But if a multi-billion-dollar enterprise doesn't even know what legacy infrastructure they rely on, what happens when a malicious actor discovers those forgotten backdoors before the IT department does?